Hey guys, just want to take you along on another little project here that I kind of got going on. I got a van that's not starting. I had to get a jump on it last week sometime. Haven't really driven it since and went to go do it again and it didn't start. So I just kind of want to show you guys a little trick on how to tell whether you have a bad alternator or a bad battery. Alright, so I'll kind of show you guys what this thing is doing here. I do have lights and I do have radio, so there's enough juice to power those, but it's just not quite enough to turn this thing over. So let's pop the hood and take a look. Kind of take a look here at what the voltage is on the battery. So I'm just using a little cheap AC/DC voltmeter. I think I paid like $6 for this thing. It was real cheap. And basically what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to set it to a DC current, and an alternator will put out somewhere around 14.5 amps or something when it's charging your battery. If you're not familiar with what an alternator is, that's basically what kind of powers your vehicle once it gets started and recharges your battery for the most part. So electrical system is usually around 12 volts, and the alternator will put out somewhere around I think it's like 14.2 to 14.7 or something like that, somewhere in that ballpark basically. So since it will go up to 14-15 volts, we're going to want to have ours set to something higher than that. With this cheap meter I got here, it goes to 20. And what we're kind of looking for here when we're testing this battery is that it's around 12.5 volts or more to see if it's got enough power. So what I've done is I've thrown this battery on a trickle charger and let it sit for quite a while. I've also jump started the car and let it run for a while, hoping to kind of charge stuff up, but we're still running into issues. So let's test this battery first. Alright, so with your meter, you got a black wire and a red wire. Your red wire is your positive and your black is your ground. So what we'll do is we'll turn our meter on here, set in the DC something above 15 volts. And if you look here, you can kind of see there's actually a red wire here on the battery and a black on this side. So this is your negative and your positive ground that's hooked up. It also will see on your battery, if you look real closely here, I got a plus on this side and a minus on that side. So let's take a look here at what we get. It looks like we're getting 10.38. Now I can't always rule out the battery or totally say the battery is the issue if the alternator is not putting out the current. So what we'll do is we'll kind of put it on the jumper here again, and we'll get the van running, and we'll take another reading on this battery and see if we are getting something in the 14s, depending on the type of load that we have running. Alright, so we got this thing sitting here kind of charging a little bit. Set it kind of on a jumper mode to kind of help speed things up a little bit and see if we can get this car started to test that alternator. One other note here, you guys, you really want to make sure these posts and stuff are cleaned up really well. You probably want to pull them off and hit them with a wire brush and clean up all the connections real well. Sometimes they can kind of get a little corrosive and stuff, and that can also kind of be a culprit. Let's see if we can get this thing started. Alright guys, I'm going to kind of turn this engine noise down a little bit. You can obviously tell that I got to get a belt replaced, but we'll save that project for another day. So what we're looking for is something in the 13 to 14 range, anything kind of higher than like 12.6, which is kind of the norm for a battery. I want to make sure it's charging it. So we'll check these connections here. And as you can see, we're getting somewhere in the 14.2 range, so we're getting more than enough charging power, so we can kind of rule the alternator out, and we're obviously not overcharging the battery, and something above like 14.7 or something. So right now it's really kind of pointing at the battery, especially since we've kind of thrown it on the trickle charger and weren't able to still get it up to the kind of the 12.6 range. So we'll swap out the battery here real quick, and we'll go from there. there you go, guys. Seems to be a pretty quick and easy fix in troubleshooting steps. You're just kind of looking for your battery to be 12.5 or higher. Obviously not too high, but somewhere kind of in that ballpark, and that your alternator is putting out more than 12 volts, more preferably somewhere in the 14s and not higher than 14.7. We'll kind of keep an eye on it for the next couple days here, and just to make sure we don't have some, drain somewhere else that's happening, maybe a short somewhere or something. But I think we got this one nailed down. So if you guys found this video helpful, let me know by clicking that thumbs up and subscribing. Thanks for watching.